Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am incredibly excited and honored to be bringing you an interview with Micah Morris, the first interview since the departure from Good. We talk about all the things you want to hear, dive into the future of the channel for Micah, a little bit past, a little bit present. I really love telling these stories. I love being able to connect with these guys and bring these kind of in-depth understandings of who they are as content creators and as people to you guys. So I hope you enjoy this video and these styles. If you do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me, and be sure to stay tuned for future content. Without any further ado, let's hop into the interview with Micah Morris. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and the only Micah Morris on the channel. How you doing today, brother?
Good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I'm good, man. I'm good. You've had a busy last month, man. You said you posted 11 times on the channel in the last like 30 days or something last time we chatted, eh?
Yeah, the month of December was awesome. I think for YouTube, that's kind of anybody who wants to capitalize on the consumerism of Christmas, they kind of understand that. So for me, I just thought, it's always just a strategy to post as many good videos as possible in the month of December, and then January is kind of like take some time off and replan, kind of figure out how to restructure the vision and how we're going into the new year. And it's really good though. December was a really, really fun month, a lot of growth.
Yeah, dude, you put out some really, and you have some really exciting ones coming down the pipeline, but to speak on what you've already put out, you put out some really exciting videos in that month too, like some cool collaborative content, but also some cool like independent kind of like ideas. Did you have any videos that stood out for you from that month that was like your favorites?
My number one favorite might be pretty obvious, but it was a Bob Does Sports collab.
That was such a good video, man.
It was so cool because I think it was sometime in November. I saw that Bob was going to be down there, and so I shot him a text and I asked him what days he was going to be down there, and it was within the same days that we were down there. And I'm just that was like my first. We had filmed with him before, I think, once or twice, but them being on my channel and just getting to hang out with them and then have Grant there was just incredible. And they're just like great guys, great personalities, and you just can't go wrong with Bob Does Sports. That was my favorite. My second favorite, I did a video where I created my own golf course, and it was just a ton of fun. It was like one of the most enjoyable times that I feel like I've had on the course by myself and my videographer Bradley. We just had so much fun, and it was really great. But all of those videos, it was pretty well thought out, pretty well planned. And so going down there, we kind of knew what was going to happen, and we just kind of hit the ground running, and it was a very successful trip. And just a lot of great people.
That's awesome, man. So there's a lot I want to chat about today. There's a lot that I think the viewers are going to be interested to hear, and we're going to get into all of it. But I want to start with a bit of a rewind and just a little bit backstory on you, because this is even stuff that I'm just curious about. We've talked a little bit about your start on YouTube, but I'm curious, what was your start in golf like? Like, did you just pick up a club at like 5 years old? Were you one of those kids, or was it like a school thing, or how did you get your start in actually playing golf?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I didn't actually start playing golf until like probably towards the end of high school. Basically, I played volleyball in high school for, probably 2 years, kind of as I was finishing high school. And then I loved it. I loved playing volleyball. And so I wanted to try to continue that, but I ended up getting a pretty severe like injury. And so it took me probably like 6 months of like pretty intense chiropractic to be able to recover from that. And then once I got recovered from that, I was like, just kind of lost the desire to play volleyball. And it was basically then when I had picked up a golf club, and I had never played at all in my life. And so I just fell in love with it. And I went to a local pawn shop and I bought a $45 set of like ping irons. And it had like two of the just like actual iron drivers. Like they were just really old. And I would just go out in one of our pastures. I grew up on a farm. Would go out in one of the pastures. And then I had like 75 balls, and I would just go out there and hit 75 balls to one end, and then go to the other end, pick them up and hit them back. Flags out there. I had some rebar that I had put some different color flags on, different yards. I created my own driving range in the back of my pastures. And so I did that for probably, a year. I was so in love with the sport. And then from there, I ended up one day I called my uncle who lives in Kansas City, and I was like, hey, what is Garrett and Hannah doing? My cousins, Garrett. And he was like, they're playing in a charity tournament in Missouri. So I literally just packed up my car. I drove, I think it was like 9 hours through the night. And then the next day I played in this charity tournament with Garrett and one other guy, or two other guys and me. And we played in this charity tournament. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. And then when we finished that tournament, there was a coach from my school. He walked up to me and he was like, hey, would you want to come play for my school? And I was like, what? And so we kind of started having some conversations, and then he ended up connecting me with a coach in Kansas City at Kansas City Community College. And then basically this all happened within a span of about 2 weeks. I went up and played a practice round with Kansas City Community College. And then that coach offered me a full scholarship. And then I just never went home.
What?
Yeah, so that was fall of 2018 or 2015, sorry, fall of 2015 when I went to school, and then I lived in Kansas City for a couple years. And so yeah, that's kind of how I started, and it was pretty wild.
That is a cool story, man. I mean, those kind of things I feel like are the stories a lot of the time of people who have found success in something. It's never as easy as what people from the outside would assume. Like, I think a lot of people would assume that, yeah, you just picked up a club when you're 5 years old and it was just a pretty straightforward path. But like, that's so cool that it was like something you adopted later in life. What position were you playing in volleyball when you played? Because I was a setter and I played volleyball for a long time.
I was actually left side hitter. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was my strong position. And
Never would have guessed.
I'm not that tall, but in high school I could jump very high, and so
Oh, cool.
that was how I made it work.
That makes a lot of sense. You could jump really high in high school. You can drive the ball really far. Now it's a lot of the same mechanics, that like hip explosion, ground force.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I think that probably has helped me a lot because when I played volleyball, I did a ton of workouts in order to be able to jump higher, which, that's like you said, explosive. And so driving a ball is very similar.
So talk to me about the bridging then of golf to YouTube. What was kind of the spark that got you into it, interested in it, and did it take you away from like dreams of golf, or did it add to them? Like, how did that whole process go?
Yeah. So me and Garrett started GM Golf on Instagram, and we just started doing trick shots. And it was literally just like we made this putting green in our backyard, and we would just Garrett was a lot more creative than I was when it came to trick shots. And it's one thing that he's just absolutely fantastic at. But we would just do anything we could possibly think of. So we did that for a while. And probably maybe like 8 months into that, we had like 40,000 followers or something on Instagram. It wasn't like too crazy, but we had like done pretty well. And that was kind of as I was finishing college. And I was just kind of at a point where I was like, I'm ready to like kind of, move away and just figure out what's for me. And so he kind of like kept going with GM Golf. And I ended up moving to Dallas, Texas, worked at a country club for a little bit. And then I ended up getting married. Well, I met my wife and then I got married. And then probably about a year and a half later, I think is what it was, Garrett, we reconnected. I mean, we stayed connected, but we just like, he reconnected as far as a business. He was like, hey, would you want to come back and do GM Golf again? And because he had started on YouTube and built, I think he had 150,000 subscribers or something. I can't remember exactly, but he had done really well. And he called me and asked me if I wanted to come back to Kansas City. And so we decided to do that. We moved back to Kansas City. I started doing GM Golf with Garrett again. And we did that for probably about another year and a half. I did GM Golf with Garrett. And the whole time, like, I still was so passionate about playing competitive golf, but it was really cool to start to see how, I could possibly start to build something alongside of doing that. So year and a half of doing GM Golf with Garrett, we had a ton of fun. We did a lot of really cool things. The Sunday matches were probably like a staple in YouTube. They were just something that we just had so much fun with those. And then I ended up starting my YouTube channel in August of 2020, I believe. or it might have been 2021. I can't remember exactly, but I basically decided like I wanted to start my own YouTube channel. And then I just, it really blew up way quicker than I was expecting, which was just, it was really cool to see. It's just, and so basically I just was able to kind of start figuring out, what I want this to look like for myself. And ended up kind of me and Garrett, we kind of got to a point where like, I'm ready to kind of go out on my own. And, he kept going and obviously is doing incredible. And, my channel has done pretty well. And now we're here. And, obviously there's a lot in between, but it's just been a ton of fun. And YouTube golf is not something that I ever really thought that I would. It's, as a kid, I never dreamed to be a golf YouTuber, but I feel like it's just really cool to see how, my vision has always been competitive golf, and there's so many different ways to get there. And this is probably the best that I can possibly think of right now, because I'm able to connect with so many people and hopefully inspire people along the way as well.
That's awesome, man. I love that. What is it about the content creation that you enjoy? Like the platform of YouTube, the process of making YouTube videos, like what about that keeps you coming back outside of the fact that you just get to go and play golf?
For me, it's just simply competition. Like, I like doing videos by myself. It's fun. I feel like we can get creative with it, but literally just playing matches, and whether it's 2v2s or straight up 1v1s against like really good golfers. I love playing people that are way better than me because I play up and also I learn. But dude, competition is just what gets me fired up. That's literally it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. When you made the jump now, kind of on your own, full time or whatever, how has it been? How has the transition been? And was it a scary decision for you to kind of go out, or were there parts of it that you were maybe a little more nervous about or whatever? Because obviously I'm sure it was a pretty big decision to jump.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very scary. I knew that it was something that was very, very carefully thought out. It was something that it was a decision that was made over a long period of time. This was not something that happened, in a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever. Like, it was something that I had kind of been feeling a pull in a different direction for a while. And it was probably one of the harder decisions that I've had to make. But I think that in like, just kind of in life, like there's just times when, you have to move on from something, or it's time to let something go so that, new opportunities can come. And I think there's just a natural process there. And it was very, very hard. And I think that I didn't know exactly how it was going to be received by the public. But that probably was not the most, well, it was very difficult to see so many different opinions. And I was expecting that. I was expecting to be so many different opinions, but to kind of have all of these different opinions that I was seeing that were not true, it definitely is like, it makes me turn to me and my, understanding, knowing my identity, knowing what I want, knowing what I believe in, and knowing what I believe is true, in order to just keep moving forward and not let other opinions and, so much sway what I believe in the decision, and, trusting the decision that I and a lot of others were able to make, through just a lot of communication, and just like had a lot of people in my corner. And it definitely hard probably is an understatement, but I feel very excited. I feel like especially with like the last probably 2 months of content, I've really I've put my best stuff out there. And so I've had a ton of growth, and I feel like, there's just a lot of like people are kind of understanding that like, hey, Good Good is going to keep being successful. They're extremely powerful brand in the golf space. And I believe that I'm also going to be able to do that as well. We're going to be everybody's going to be able to grow together. There's room for everyone. And it's just, I think that we're kind of getting to that point, at least with me, where it feels like there's a little more respect, and I have appreciated that. I respect what the guys are doing, and hopefully it's the same towards me.
That's awesome, man. Talk to me a little bit about the mental side of YouTube and how you cope with that, because I mean, I'm sure, like you just mentioned, it was a a tough time mentally for you, but regardless of what's happened in the past, just YouTube in general, just being a content creator, no matter who you are, what content you're creating, it can be tough on your mind because you're getting so much feedback, so much opinion in the comments and the videos, and then you and I have talked about this. When you see a video hit 10 to 10, you just want to quit. Like, it's the most depressing thing ever. Like, how have you developed yourself to be able to handle the mental side of YouTube?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it really is like, it's a very true form of entrepreneurship, because it's an absolute grind. Like, you go out there, and yes, we're playing golf, and like, I'm having the most fun that I've ever had, but it's literally like we're relying on that for, our living. Like, we're trying to create the best content that we can. We're trying to, up the quality of that content consistently. We are trying to come up with, new, fresh ideas, because anyone, I mean, we've seen it before, like, anyone can go irrelevant if you're not evolving with the space. And so it's definitely like, it's a constant thing. And I feel like, for me and my wife especially, we have been very adamant for ourselves about creating certain boundaries for ourselves when it comes to, the work life and the personal life, because it's with YouTube, it's something that you can literally do all day, every day, all night. Like, you can do it all the time. And so we've been pretty, I feel like over the last year, we've taken a lot more responsibility when it comes to, like, prioritizing our relationship, our friendships with other people, and just trusting the process of, like, what we're doing. And then also understanding that we have a vision for this. And if we are diligent in what we're doing every single day, then believing that that is enough. And and also just continually refining that vision, and growing, and being willing to ebb and flow, and also being willing to handle the lows just as happy as we get in the highs. And it's just, you learn so much about yourself and what you rely on when you're kind of in the, like, I'm not, like, in the public eye, but I guess I am when it comes to golf. Like, and so you learn so much about yourself and what you rely on and what you believe in when you have so many different opinions and perspectives. And, like, I respect everyone and their opinion, but also when it comes to what we're doing, like, I have a vision, and I have a goal, and I have things that I want to accomplish, and I'm going to continue to do the things that I feel are necessary in order for me to reach those goals.
I love that, man. No, that's great. And I think, as many opinions have been thrown your way, and as much as you've seen in the last a bit of time, at the end of the day, I think it just shows the following that you have, and the amount of people that are interested in what you're doing and care about what you're doing. And to me, it shows the growth of the golf content scene and the golf creator scene, which is massive. And that's kind of bridging into my next question, which is like, how has that been to feel? Because you've kind of been through a good sizable chunk of that growth of when I think, the exploding of it has really happened in the last, 12 to 24 months. But I feel like it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, every month that goes by. How has that felt? Why do you think it's exploding the way it is? And honestly, I think you guys are building more interest and influence, at least online, than a lot of professional golfers are. Like, your videos will outperform DeChambeau's videos on YouTube, which is crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm sure if you would have thought years ago when he was winning the Open and you were watching him that you'd be more interesting to golfers than Bryson DeChambeau, that would have blown your mind, So talk to me what that whole journey has been like, just building this brand and this influence in the space.
Yeah, it's been really, really incredible to be a part of, and to, like, just kind of look at the last couple years as a whole, to see what all of the golf YouTubers have done is pretty incredible. And I think one of the things that makes it, for me personally, one of the things that makes it so special is the connection that I feel like I've built with my audience. Like, when I'm like playing golf or at the driving range, and I meet someone, and it's literally like we interact like we've known each other for years. And I just think that's so cool because there's no other really platform that people are feeling that type of connection. And so along with that, it feels like I have a lot of responsibility because I'm a part of this movement of golf and YouTube that is bringing people together. It's making people feel connected to these people because I'm just like, I'm a normal person. I do everything that normal people do, and yes, I get to play golf on YouTube for a living, and that's not something that I take for granted at all. But it's like I have a responsibility to like make sure that I'm stewarding it well, and it really does feel, I feel like honored in a sense of like, wow, I get to do this for a living. I get to inspire people. I get to show people that there's another way. I get to connect to these people in real life. I get to have real conversations with them, ask them what their name is, ask them what they're interested in. And that to me is like the most just incredible part of this whole thing. It's like the the success on YouTube is one thing, it's great, but being able to connect with people and show them that like I'm just a normal person, like whatever your dreams are, you have the ability to go do this. It's just a matter of like getting out and putting in the work and creating vision for yourself. And I think that's like the message that I want people to get. And it's really, really cool.
That is awesome, man. It's an empowering feeling as a creator, to be able to actually see and feel what you're doing and how it actually impacts real people, because it's just numbers on a screen when you're sitting at home, right? It's just you, it's a camera, it's your laptop, and it's numbers on a screen. And because we have to be so obsessed with analytics and metrics for our job, you start to think of those numbers as just numbers and not real people, But when you start thinking about the fact that like you're selling out Dodger Stadium 5 times over every time you post a video, like that starts to get crazy in your head, and you start to realize that those are all real people who know you and care about you and want to watch you. And yeah, it's really impactful. So it's cool, man. Talk to me about what's coming next for you. Just kind of open up the floor. Anything you want to share or are able to share about either like collabs or next, like matches or tournaments you're playing in. What's on the horizon for Micah Morris Golf that we can all be excited about?
My goodness, there is some really, really incredible things, and I can't really speak on all of them. End of January, I'm going to have an announcement that is, this is the thing that I've been the most excited about since I started my YouTube channel, I guess, to say how, like, that's how much impact it has. It's truly a dream come true for me. And so I will be announcing that at the end of January. I'm not going to say a date or a time yet, but I will let you know when that's very like set in stone, or I'll let everyone know. And then come February, you're going to start seeing a lot more content in Florida, which is exciting. There is some new developments there that may possibly be taking us to Florida. So you're going to be seeing a lot more Florida content, which I'm very excited about. The golf there is so good. There's so many really great collaborations down there. And then also I'm getting ready to kind of like up my level of practice and hopefully like doing stuff with a coach, because I really want to, see what level I can get my game to. So tournaments are always going to probably be something that's pretty consistent, one or two a month. And then just really just developing my game and understanding, like, kind of, I would say like golf IQ, because I feel like I have a lot of different shots in the bag. I can hit it, just as far as anyone, but it really just is golf IQ. And so kind of developing that side of my game. And then just along with all of that, competitive matches against some of the best players in the world, possibly. We'll just put that out there. So that is, this year is going to be really big, and there's some really, really exciting things coming up.
Listen, man, you got me hyped. Like, I'm a fan. I love you. I love your content. That's just got me giddy on the inside listening to you say all that and tease all that. So I think I can speak for all of us that we're very excited to see what you have in the future, man. I appreciate you coming on the channel and chatting. I think people are really going to enjoy seeing this side of you and hearing these things from you. And you're an awesome guy. You create awesome content. And, I mean, just keep it up, man. It's super fun to watch.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. and I appreciate what you do, and likewise to everything you just said.
Thanks, brother.